after last night?
Just I guess flush out the legs a little bit and feel good about going into the next couple of days. Obviously, not the game that we wanted to bring. Certainly far away from our best. So it's just flush it out a little bit and start getting ready.
Stay in that same row.
Corey, I just want to ask about, a lot of people talk about every game as its own individual element in the playoffs. Is that the way, kind of the way you guys are looking at this one, is to get rid of that one and then whatever happens in the next one, there's no momentum, I guess, from one game to the next?
I mean, you move on from last night, and a couple of days, skated today, we had a good practice, and it was upbeat, and you get ready for the next one, and the next one's the biggest one, and that's the way we have to look at it.
Right side, second row.
Stuart talked last night, Leon, a little bit that the group had some discussions among itself afterwards and such. What would you say the tone was of the conversations that you guys had, and kind of how you wanted to react properly in that moment?
Well, I think our team's really good at reacting and answering to performances like last night. I think we've always been a good team at coming back out with a strong effort. So obviously, again, not our best showing, not our game, but we get a great chance in 2 nights in 2 days to show what our team's all about, what we worked for all year, and bring our best game.
Left side, second row.
This one's for Corey. This year's finals seem more physical than last year's. Have you noticed that yourself? And if so, what do you think is the main reason for it?
I don't know if it's, that's the way, they play physical, we know that. I don't know if it's any more physical from last year to this year. It's, it's just hockey, and, that's how we have to approach it.
Left side, front row.
Corey, fans are very emotional. They're losing it after your team loses a game. That's just how it works in hockey. Could you explain? I know you guys are good at flushing these things, and you're pros, and you've been doing it for forever. Can you explain to people that don't understand that how you do it, and why you do it, and how it happens so fast?
Well, you can't dwell on things you can't change. You can't change the outcome after the game has ended. So you look at what you didn't do right, or you could improve on, or whatever, however you want to say it, and take some positives out of it or whatever. But you have to flush it. It's the next one's the biggest one, and that's how we think about it. Is we lost the game. Get ready for the next one. Move on.
We'll take a few more. Right side, first row.
Corey, I'll ask you this also. You get the power play goal last night, but I think the power play overall the past 3 games is 3 for 16. Are you guys getting the looks that you want? And if not, is it something that the Panthers are doing?
For a power play, I think, and I've always said this, if you can create momentum for the rest of the team, you've done your job. Obviously, you want to score every single time you're on the power play. Yeah, you do. But are you going to score? No, not every single time. But if you can create momentum for the rest of the team, and guys are on the bench, like, oh, that was close, that just sets up the next shift and the shift after that, and it creates some energy. And I thought last night we had some good looks in the first period, and he made some good saves, and we found one in the second, but it's the momentum that you want to try to continue to carry over for the next shift after the power play.
Left side, fourth row.
Leon, their team is well practiced in what we might call gamesmanship. When you're facing that from another team, how do you handle it with, I guess, the ability to overcome it?
Yeah, you have to. That's part of their DNA. That's what they do. I think there's spurts in the series where we've handled it really well. Last night is, it's the game's over with 11 minutes left, right? Like whatever it is, and then all hell breaks loose. It's a UFC fight, but I think overall we can be a little bit more disciplined and stay away from that. But there's also times where we've handled it really well.
We'll take 2 more. Left side, third row.
Just to follow up on that, Leon, and you guys are a veteran, savvy team. Normally, you don't come unglued like your team did last night. You had your own shift in the first where you and Sam Bennett had a thing. You went back at him, kind of unlike you, really. What is it about him and Marchand and Tkachuk, about that team, that makes teams go crazy when they play them?
I'm not going crazy. I don't know if anybody's going crazy. It's an emotional time. It's two teams that want to win, two teams of doing it their own way, but I don't think anybody is going crazy here. They're good at what they do, but again, last night was the first night where it got out of hand a little bit. The game's over. It's 5-1, like I said. It's not a big deal. We have guys that are intense, you know, they like getting in those situations just as much as they do, so there's not really that much to it.
Last one, right side, fourth row.
Leon, regardless of the breakdown in penalties last night, there were a lot of them on both sides. And I'm wondering now, does that play against the strength of your team now that the depth has improved and the strength of the team seems to be 5-on-5? Would you be better served, for instance, in a game that's a little bit more low event with regard to penalties?
Yeah, for sure. We got to strive for that type of game. We got to strive for a tight checking game, not a lot of power plays going their way. Defending well, you know, low event, that's what we're looking to do. That's what we've done throughout most of the playoffs. And yeah, that's our first step.
I don't really know.
I don't. Talking within the locker room about the attitude for practice and having fun and being light.
Yeah, that was something we preach, and just getting back to our game and just having fun with it.
How'd you sleep last night? How difficult was it to put this game behind you?
Yeah, it's never easy to sleep after a game, 8 o'clock start. You know, you're all ramped up, so yeah, it's difficult to go to sleep.
Third period aside, because it got a little out of hand, but is there sort of a fine line? Like, you guys are a big, tough group too, and you want to hold your ground and protect your crease and all that, but do you feel like in some ways you overdid it in certain pieces of that game and got a little distracted? Is that an issue, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of penalties in that game. Takes the flow away. You know, when they have a lot of power plays too, even if they're not scoring, they're good. Their star players are getting touches on the puck and feeling good about themselves. So you never really want that to start. And they're good at that, playing that game. And I've played them in multiple series, and it feels like, obviously I'm biased, it feels like they're doing more, but getting more penalties for them. So they're good at that.
You guys often are at your best when you're sort of rolling lines and you find that 5-on-5 game. Hasn't been a lot of opportunity because of all the penalties. Is that you feel like that's gotten in your way a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, yeah, we want to play 5-on-5. I think that's where we thrive, obviously, and the more 5-on-5 we can play, I think the better.
What's it like being on the opposite side of Brad in that battle? I'm sure you guys had games like that where you were together.
I don't know. It was just another, nothing really crazy. I mean, it's not really doing and this is doing well on the ice, but not anything really like sideshow or anything like that.
Trent, have you seen anything different from Sam Bennett than you have in the past in terms of what he's doing out there?
No, I don't know. It's the same guy. I feel like I played the last 2 playoffs. So I don't know, nothing really different.
What was your perspective on the third? You know, you guys came together in the third period. Just that sequence, it got a little hairy out there.
Yeah, I mean, I just gave a shot. My stick broke, so I figured I was going to get a penalty anyways. So just kind of kept going.
I've heard multiple guys talk about them not being called as often as you. Like, you can't help that, right? Like, what can you do about that?
Sorry, can you say that again?
I've heard multiple guys talk about how they're getting away with more than you are. Like, so what do you do?
I don't know, just play, just play in the whistles. And, we're biased, right? Everyone who plays against our team's biased, so it's kind of hard to, you can say that all you want, but if you're on the other team, I'm sure you're saying the same thing. So.
Flushed yesterday a little bit, or is it still very much raw?
I mean, I can just speak for myself, but I closed that book last night. That's what I did with Game 1, and I did with Game 2. So you just got to look at it as it's one game. We're looking for the whole series. So we know we're down 2-1, and we got to be better next game.
What's your sense of the group coming off last night? What are you feeling?
I mean, I think we're really good. We just got to have a moment of realization this morning of yeah, we're 3 wins away. We're 1 win away from having a best out of 3 with 2 home games. So there's a lot of positives. Sometimes you get a little lost in that when you lose a game, right? But I think everybody had a really good practice today. We're upbeat, and we know we can be better.
So based on what you're saying there, is it more the mental side of just being where your feet are, or is there an execution aspect or sort of a game planning aspect that you're working on too?
I think today purely was more a mental thing. I think the pro of having, I've heard this a million times this year, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think we're the oldest team in the NHL. So to having all that experience on our side is also huge in the situations like this where you got to go game by game, you got to go day by day, and just make sure you don't let that flow into each other too much. It's a series. We knew before this series was going, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. Obviously didn't feel great waking up, but getting together again, get on the ice. We all feel a lot better about it, and yeah, we're going to be ready for Game 4.
Today was supposed to be a day off. Did the players want to get on the ice? How was the process of deciding that this was going to be a practice day?
I don't think anything is for sure in this business. It's just the way we feel and the way we kind of want to manage it. So I think most guys wanted to go out and skate and have a good flush of the legs, and that's just what we did. I didn't even know, maybe you know more than I do, that we were supposed to have a day off, so I'll have to talk to the coach. But no, I think everybody was fine with going out and wanted it.
You need to play with emotions in the Stanley Cup final, but yesterday, would you say that it was hard for you to control the emotion during that?
I don't know. I think that if you look at the third period is what the third period is. It's 5-1 or whatever, right? Like I don't play too much into that. I think the biggest thing about your emotional thing there is we got to control our penalties in the first. We can't take 4. It's just too much, right? Like you're having their best players on the ice way more than we have our top guys on there, because we're obviously killing too much. So I think that the stick infractions, the penalties in the first, we got to clean up. Whatever happened in the third is I don't play too much into that.
How do you go about sort of dictating your style of game to them more than they dictate the style of game to you guys?
No, that's the battle, right? I think that's been pretty clear in these 3 games, that whoever manages to play their game a larger volume of the game usually goes winning out of the game. So I think that is the game. I mean, you're absolutely right, and so far I think they've managed to do that better in 2 games, and we did it better in Game 1. So in that regard, I don't think we have gotten up to standard where we want to be yet. I think it's coming, and yeah, it's a 2-1 series, so we're in a good spot, but we need to raise our game.
Was there a discussion with the players and the coaches of practicing today, or is this typically just a coach's decision to tell you what to do? Did you guys have a say, and do we want to get out there?
I think that there's communication for sure. Not that maybe I was in that communication. This is just on this particular day, so you might have to talk to Connor or Leon or Chris or whoever. But yeah, I think everybody was fine with skating, and it's probably as I said earlier, it's the best thing you can do for your mental and for your state of the group is just to get out there and flush it out and move on.
You might be off tomorrow. Like, what would it be like to have a day away from the rink heading into such an important game?
I should probably note that I'm not the head scheduler of our group. I don't know. I don't know really what to say there, but there's a lot of scheduling things here, and I'm usually not part of those. So yeah, we will see, I guess.
Have you filed your taxes?
Yeah, right. Yeah, not yet.
What you just said about maybe not finding your game enough as much as Florida has, Connor said the same thing last night. He said we haven't found our game, our best game, and we think it's coming. A year ago, Connor talked about whatever you got, bring it. Are we at that moment here?
No, I would not say so. I think we look at this year completely different. I think you look at it. I think yesterday I didn't like our game at all. Like, that's just bottom line. I think the first 2 could have gone our way as much as they could have gone anyway. So I think we've played better this year to start the first 3 than we did last year. Obviously, the result shows that, but I think also we have a better understanding of what needs to be done out there, and we just can't let emotions, outside effects, referees, whatever it is, affect us. We've got to stick to the process and play our game, and I think good things will happen.
How aggravating are they to play sometimes? I mean, they seem to pound you between the whistles and then skate away all the time and after the whistle. And I know covering the Carolina series, it made them lose their minds at times because they weren't engaging.
I don't think so. I think we know what they are. We know we got experience of playing them last year, and I think it's more on us as players. And
it sticks out like a story.
can I just? I was just writing the answer there. Sorry. I think that they play. That's their brand. That's what they do. That's what they do really well. But at the same time, we've won 4 games against them in these finals in the last 2 years, and I think you look at those games. We're a very focused group. We play our game. We don't let that even creep in a little bit. So I think maybe we lost that a little bit last night, but we know what to do. Sorry.
About that. I heard quiet, so I
No.
apologize. It sticks out like a sore thumb when goalie allows 5 goals and gets pulled. What would you kind of say about Stu's game and the work in front of him that you guys had last night?
Yeah, we got to be better. We got to help him for sure, and I think that he's been playing unbelievable in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. I don't know how long it's been now, but it feels like a long time, and he hasn't had a bad game. And maybe last night was one of those when it was good. Get it out of the system. Hopefully, it's one of those a night off. But I got all the confidence in the world that our D-core, our defensive game, our goalie is going to step up big in Game 4.
It was a little crazy in the third period there. Obviously, what's going through your mind during that line crawl? And I guess Greer's trying to get at you there.
Yeah, I don't know what really had them throw me out of the game. I thought that I was in with the other guy there, Gadjewicz, and then he comes out of nowhere trying to sucker me, and I didn't do much more, but there I go, tossed out of the game. So sometimes they try to even things up or whatever, but yeah, that stuff happens at the end of the games sometimes when it gets out of hand. So yeah, I don't really have much more of a comment on it.
How that decision was made? Is it the players want to get on the ice? Was it you? What was the process of going out there today?
Just with our schedule, yeah, it was, I guess, weren't 100% sure what we were going to do after the game, after we thought about it exactly what we wanted to do. So it was better to practice, then take the day off, and then have the pregame skate and kind of break it up a little bit and not be on the ice all the time. And then we find the 8 o'clock games just a long time not to be on the ice. So having the day off the day before, and then that's our plan.
Left side, front row.
Chris, a few of your players remarked that they felt the Panthers have been getting away with more things uncalled, I guess, in these games. Is there anything you or the organization can do to try to have that no longer be the case?
Not sure what we can do. We can play hockey. Hopefully it works out. There's always games where you are unhappy. There's always missed calls. Both teams are going to say, they missed that. They missed a high stick, whatever it is. You just hopefully over the long haul that it evens out. And, there's some take out the third period. That's another thing. And all those penalties that were called against us in the third period absolutely should have been called. I think they handled that really well. But I just look at the calls that made us shorthanded in the first period. It's important for us to be disciplined and not go into the penalty box. But I don't know. It's tough for us to say that we're not going to do that because. One of the high sticks got pushed up into his face. Cross check, the guy falls. I really didn't think that was much of a cross check. Yeah, I don't know. They're all judgment calls. It's difficult. Hopefully it works out. I'm sure Paul's looking at his video and saying we should have got called some other times. So ultimately, we just hope it works out.
Right side, front row.
Chris, this group's been pretty good at parking and moving on from difficult losses. You did it in Los Angeles. You did it in Vegas. I guess what is the key to doing that here, and just flushing it and then moving on to the next one?
Yeah, guys knows what's important, and we're happy with our play, and we're happy we lost our last 2 games. But everyone's knows what's at stake and what they need to do, and that we need to stay focused on the goal. I agree with you. I think we've done a heck of a job putting some really crushing losses. The LA, where we had a tremendous, I think that was game 1 or game 2? Game 1. Unbelievable comeback, pretty much all on Connor's shoulders. And then we lose with, 10 seconds left. Same thing with the Vegas. They score with 0.4 seconds left. They don't get much more crushing than that. We've always been able to pick ourselves up and carry on. So, I'm very fortunate to have the group of guys that I have in the room. They are fabulous. They are mature. They're focused, and they handle success very well. They handle adversity very well. And we're just going to need that maturity to move forward.
Right side, second row.
Chris, I'm not referring to the third period when it got out of hand, but just the kind of the game within the game, standing your ground in the crease, scrumming it up after the whistle, that sort of thing. Obviously, you don't want a group to get pushed around at all, but do you think you were a little bit on the wrong side of that, overdoing it a little in some ways, and it threw you guys off a bit?
Well, that's Florida does a really good job at that. That's their game. They like that. We got to play our game. That's with the puck, good defensive hockey, and, some guys thrive on those extracurricular activities, things that happen after the whistle. But I think some of our guys got a little distracted with that. I think it's most important for us to play between the whistles, and, there's going to be things that happen after, but I think it's most important is what we're doing between the whistles.
Left side, fourth row.
Chris, you were asked about Stuart Skinner last night. A day later, how are you feeling about his performance so far in the final, and will he start in Game 4?
We haven't decided. We'll announce that before the game. But I think a lot of the games that Stu, maybe it wasn't on his A game. Our team wasn't on their A game in front of him. So I don't think there's any bad goals. Maybe an extra save, but it doesn't matter how well Stu played last night. It wouldn't have made any difference in the game, most likely. So, I'm not holding anything against Stu on that performance.
Right side, fourth row.
Where's the fine line when you're making that goalie decision? When you have a guy like Stuart Skinner, who's been your starter for most of the year, you go away from him and it works with Calvin Pickard. Like, what goes into sort of like the calculus of making that sort of goaltending decision this deep in the playoffs?
Well, the games like last night, if you're talking about just last night, we're down 5-1 at the time. We're not playing very well in front of him. I don't think that's fair for him to stick in there and play through it. And here we've got a goaltender, Pix, who's been pretty good, 6-0 in the playoffs. Hasn't played, and whether we use him again, here's a little opportunity for him to get some playing time. So when we do use him, he's a little more comfortable when he goes in that net. So I think it's one, just allowing Pix some playing time just in case we do need him. We do choose to use him at a certain point, but also give Stu some time off and not have him play through that circumstance.
Last one, right side, front row.
Chris, I asked Corey Perry about the power play just a few minutes ago, and he said, obviously you're not going to score on all of them, but you want to get the opportunities and you also want to generate momentum for the next shift especially. Are you seeing that right now in general over the past 3 games? And if not, what do you need more on the power play?
I think we need more, certainly pucks going in the net. But I think we've had some power play, especially early in games, where it was about, we had some good looks, we had some good opportunities, and they just didn't go in. And if they go in, they maybe change the game a little bit. Thinking about the first one, and I know Bouchard had some good chances, one for sure, if not 2. maybe that changes things a little bit. I'm thinking about the first power play, game 2 in Edmonton. Same thing early. We had some really good looks, and and unfortunately, you just can't always put them in. I guess where it really caught us is game 2. We had a bad power play, killed momentum, and we gave up a goal against. That's tough. But it's tough when you look at the percentages. It's not where it usually is, not accustomed to. But there's always been times through the regular seasons where, 5 game segments or 10 game segments, it hasn't been that good. But, it'd be nice to get some more power play goals. I certainly think we'll get some more opportunities, and we got to be ready to capitalize on them.